I am just making sure, checking a couple of things. I think we should be live. So, are you watching me? Are we live? Welcome back. How's it going? Welcome back to Supercharged Fridays. My name is Sonal Behel, your friendly neighborhood HR director / career coach, live every single Friday on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. How is it going? And if we haven't met before, so happy you're here. Welcome. I do this every Friday. I've been doing this for about 5.5 years. I started before COVID in January 2020. And what I do is essentially help people who are in transition in their career, who are either not happy where they are or looking for something because they went through some breakup with their current organization, whether it was their choice or the company's choice. Doesn't matter, regardless, right? And I help you to find something better, that pays better, that gets you out of bed Monday morning. And if that's what you're about, consider being a part of my world. Check out my website, superchargeyourself.com. I got loads of resources there to help you. I got like courses, I got free YouTube videos, I got a newsletter that I send out every few days. And if you're like, hey, but I want more, right? You want to get more serious about working together, think about sending me an application. Go to my link right here and send me an application. And if this is a good fit, let's have a conversation. Go to superchargeyourself.com/game plan. All right. In the meantime, how's it going? I am actually coming to you live from New Delhi. I am back home for the summer. I will be here for about a month in hot and humid New Delhi. And I'll be traveling around a bit. So the slots to be, the slots for meeting and stuff like that. If you're in this link, there'll be very few and far between slots, but doesn't matter if that's what you're about. At least I'll be in the same time zone if you're in this part of the world. If you're in Europe or the US, there'll be fewer slots, but you can always send me an email and we can find out what's going on. All right. So without further ado, let us get into it. Hi, Jatin. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you joining me live. And I have a couple of questions actually already that I'm going to get started with. I was just reading the first question. It's a really long question. And this is the question. Okay. I'm going to post this as a comment. It's a very long question. Okay. And I'm going to post this as a comment. It's not even fitting, actually. Fun. How do I do this? Can't post channels. Type message. Okay. I think I was able to post this. Let's see. Yes, but I'll obviously give priority to you if you're watching me live. If you're watching me live, let's get straight into it. You got a question, Jatin? I got perspectives. Let's go. Okay, I had an interview and I wanted to know how to ask HR about the notice period in their company. Is it fine to ask about? Jatin, clarify for me because I want to make sure I have understood what you are looking for. You had an interview and I wanted to know how to ask HR at this new company about the notice period in their company. Why would you want to know that? Or do you want to know notice period in your current company? Yeah, because tell me where you're coming from. Why do you want to know this? Okay. If you can, try and use this format so that it's clear for me, right? Clear is kind, so that I can best help you. My problem is X, my ideal outcome is Y, my question is Z. So when you say you want to know, why do you want to know the notice period in that particular company? I'm trying to understand what I've missed, right? How I can best serve you. Yeah, but Jatin, why? Why do you want to know the notice period in their company? If they are interested in you, they're going to want to know this. And they'll ask you, what is the notice period you have with your current company? Do you understand? Why would you want to know that in advance? I'm trying to follow that. Because if what I think is happening, if I'm right, if my understanding is right, and if my suspicion is right, this could be a situation where the cart is before the horse, where, for example, sometimes we want to know, what do you pay, what is your income, what is your salary range that you're paying. We don't want to come up with that, let them come up with this. Okay. And if you want to know your notice period, obviously that's in your contract. You can see the notice period in your contract to with your current company, right? But I'm wondering why you want to know this. So you haven't answered me. If you haven't answered me, I can't help you. You know what I mean? Like, let me help you. But I don't know where you're coming from with this. So come back to me. Why do you want to know? Be careful, right? The questions we ask, the there has to be a reason behind them. We don't want to be sending out, I don't know. We don't want any room for misinterpretation here. That's where I'm coming from. Okay? Padmanaban. Hi, thank you for being here. Oh, really appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hi, Risto, my friend. The winds are making. Oh my gosh. I'd love some winds right now. It is so hot and humid right now in Delhi. So some wind would be very welcome. All right. I'm going to get into the long question. There were two more questions actually that had come up. I'm going to look for them in my chat. In the meantime, I want to, give you a second so you can actually read what's in front of you, because that's a giant question. Live stream. Da, da, da. Where was that question I'm trying to get? I mean, to be honest, they are the ones. It's okay. Let them come to me. And I'm happy to this Friday. Where do I have so many emails every day? It's completely maddening. Okay. Never mind. Okay. So this question is as follows. This gentleman is at a company in the US. Okay. I'm going to call him Mark. I know who he is. I'm just going to anonymize his name. Yeah. For privacy reasons. There's been a lot of whisper at their company that there's going to be a massive layoff announced very soon. Okay. I think this is something a lot of people are either going to relate with or will soon relate with. It's going to happen sooner or later. And he wants to be best prepared for something like this coming up. So this question is as follows. Could you outline suggested steps for someone like myself that I can take to prepare for the worst case scenario, because I'm aware, so that I can, be aware of the financial planning. I already started updating my resume and I've made network calls and emails. How should I set up my LinkedIn profile to quietly let people know that I may be looking for a job? Okay. So Mark, couple of things. It's never too late to start, and you're very, very right to prepare in advance. It's not about doom and gloom. It's about preparing for the worst case scenario. That's what smart people do. Not in a like, oh my God, panic, but more like, what are my options looking like? So that if the proverbial ish hits the fan, how can I be best prepared? Okay. First thing I would do is the easiest, which is very passive, is set my LinkedIn. If you go to your LinkedIn profile, under your picture, there is an option that says open to. And you want to click the option that's open to recruiters only. Okay. This is usually a safe option, and you appear open to recruiters outside your company. Okay. So There are options there which says I'm kind of just passively looking, I'm actively looking. Decide what you want to, decide what feels like a good fit for you. And also the square radius, mile radius that, for example, if you're in New York, is it the New York, New Jersey area? The bigger, the better, actually. And very specifically, what are the titles that you're targeting? All of that stuff, fill that up really well. And the second thing I would do is shoot off emails so you schedule some conversations already in your books ASAP. Okay, so that July should be peppered with conversations in your calendar for talking to people who could be either in your target company, future target company, or they know people who know people in your target company, and have conversations. And I have some kind of email templates which are there in a low cost paid resource. Let me know if you want that. I can give that to you. I think it's literally superchargeyourself.com/email guide. And you can say, hey, so I'm not sure if you've heard, but I'm suspecting that in my company, this is what's about to happen. I highly recommend that you don't put this on email, that you do it on the phone or in a text so that these things cannot be traced back to you. And say, I'm looking around for the next steps. And if you have, these are my target list of companies. If you have any advice to help me out, I'd really appreciate it. So send this out. The more you send out, the better. I know people say it's not a numbers game. It is a numbers game when you are looking to hedge your bets and keep it as wide as possible. Cast a very wide net. Okay. That is going to be way more like a much better use of your time than blindly applying and waiting for someone to get back to you. You can still do that, but don't just do that. Okay. The third thing I would do is, on LinkedIn, it's a very low effort thing, which is ensure that the skill set in your LinkedIn profile, there is a section called skills. You want to make sure it's updated. I think it lets you put 100 or 150 now. Put them in the right order. And the reason I say this is there is code, CODE, code behind the skills. So you show up higher in search results. Very helpful for you. And a bunch of other things, but basically start off with like this, let LinkedIn work harder for you. Update your resume, all the achievements and accomplishments you have, make sure it's up to date. Don't just send it out, make sure it's up to date and it's reflecting you in the best possible light. There are lots of free resources out there. You don't have to buy services from a resume writer. If finances are tight, you can do, I have so many free resources on my YouTube channel. Take advantage of them, use them, and get on with it. Medium, this is all short term. Okay. What is medium term? A little bit longer than 6 months. Make sure that inside the company, make sure that the perception is that you are very much indispensable. And I know that's not easy because at the end of the day, everyone is dispensable. But how can you ensure that this perception is that you're more indispensable? So the more rare a skill set you have, the more rare certain relationships you carry, the more difficult to buy or difficult to replace your skill set is, the higher the chances of your role being safe. The more generic it is, the more there's also a good chance that AI is taking it over. This is not just for Mark. That's really good advice for everyone. Okay? Thrown a bunch of things at you, but hopefully this should be helpful to you. Okay? Let me know if you still have any further questions. We can go over it the Friday after. And I think, what else? Jatin, you have a follow-up question? HR asks for immediate joining in 1 month, but when they see my 3-month notice period, then I don't see an answer from them. So in the beginning, I just wanted to clear things. Okay. I think that don't put this in any form. Sometimes, they have these application forms and they want to know by default your notice period. Don't put 3 months because we don't want to scare people off. We want to go further down in the process. Secondly, you can always write the word negotiable or something, because at the end of the day, everything is negotiable. Yeah? Your current company may also not want to keep you for 3 months because if they realize you quit, it's better for them to let you go. Nobody wants someone who's already mentally checked out. Okay. And I'm not saying every company does that, but the more sensitive the information you have access to, the more influence you have around the office, the better for them to nip it in the bud and to let you go as soon as possible. Now that instead of 3 months, maybe it's 2 months. So HR also, if you're watching me right now and you're in HR, please don't be, I'm sorry, I'm going to use this language. Please don't be a complete idiot. Okay. You want, when people are in your company, you want them to serve 3-month notice period. But when you're hiring and someone says, I have a 3-month notice period, don't have double standards. Okay. Idiotic behavior. I hear this so many times. For 5.5 years, I've been hearing this. So if you're watching this in HR right now, you're a good person. Okay. I know this because you're watching me and we hang out. We're nice. It's a safe space. So I feel safe. You should feel safe when I say this because bad. There's good HR, there's bad HR. There's good marketing, there's bad marketing. There's good IT, there's bad IT. We all know it. What's the difference? It's the people, right? What is a good HR practice? Be a good human being. It's not rocket science. Not rocket science. Okay? A little not relevant for you, Jatin. A little bit of a soapbox moment, but yeah, I mean, you also want to word it right when you speak with them and they're being saying, I want to do a good job when I'm leaving because, I'm sure you want right when if somebody's leaving your company, you want them to do a good job. You don't just want them to disappear, right? So I want to leave with a good taste in my mouth, and I want to leave with all the work that I have committed to. I want to make sure my commitments are fulfilled. Okay. All right. One more question. Let's go. Hey, Mayur, what is the future for mid to late 40s and early 50s in the corporate world? What's your take in the context for the next 5 to 10 years, especially in tech consulting? Mayur, these are my least. Thank you for being here, Mayur. These are my least favorite questions because I do not have that crystal ball. There's many people out there who are called futurist. I think they have a better handle on these things, much better than I do. I don't know, Mayur. I can't say. But I don't think that it's evolving as fast as we think it is. If I were in tech consulting right now, I would be at the forefront of what is trending and where is all the action, much more than friends of mine in legacy industries that are going to be way slower to adapt to AI and digital, etc. Right? E-commerce, internet has been around since the late 90s. It's 2025. You still know companies that are in the dinosaur ages that still are not 100% digital and they still need program managers, digital transformation, right? So it's not overnight, but the more you have your finger on the pulse on tech that solves real world problems, right? We want tech to be in the service of business and real world problems and not the other way around. Tech is the vehicle, right, to get us there. So if you have your finger on the pulse of some of the ways that tech can do that in consulting, there is a bright future. I'm a bit of an optimist. But when people don't evolve and they are obstinate in the face of change, they're usually the first ones to go instinct. This is my very generic, simple, extra simplified take, my hot take. Is that kind of making you think a bit? Is that useful? Let me know. Okay? Okay. Anything else I can help you with? Man, I had this question, but this was on a Tuesday. Holy heck, what was that question? Tuesday was 1st July. I think it was a Tuesday. And I told him I'll answer it today. But my inbox is such a crazy jungle that I don't know where it is. I think it was 1st July. It was a good question, something to do with politics, I think. And I said I'll answer him here. Never mind. I don't know where it is. Oh my god. Never mind. Okay. I don't know. Honestly, if this was important to him, he would have shown up live because I can't keep looking around for questions and stuff. Anything else I can help with? It's now, what is it? 25 minutes. Is everything working as it should? Dude, I'm always on your side. I'm always on your side. But I'm not a fan of like complaining and stuff like that. I'm about like, what can you do now? How can we take control? There's lots of good people. Like I said, there's a lot of good HR. So it's never, we don't want to take this us versus them combative way of doing things. All right. Good luck, Jatin, with everything. Okay, awesome. Anything else I can do? Did I miss anything inside with LinkedIn? It's very quiet on LinkedIn today, which happens, not a big deal. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. No. Okay. I think I answered both the questions inside LinkedIn. All right. I think if there's nothing else, then I shall let you get on. Oh, this thing is talking. I'm gonna just close the app. All right. Listen, take care of yourself. Thank you for joining me live. Always appreciate it. And I shall get on. I got a couple more calls today. And oh, no, we got one more. We got one more. I was just about to hang up. Hi, just in time, Neeraj. What's happening? After joining a new job, we find people are not excited to full due to some kind of insecurity of losing importance. What should be our approach here? If we find people not excited to full KT due to some kind of insecurity, it's normal when we start someplace new. Okay, I don't know if this is a message you're asking. You're asking on your own behalf or on someone else's behalf. I'm going to assume you're asking on your own behalf. When you're joining a company and you're insecure, it's completely normal, right? But at the same time, because you're comparing yourself with others who have already been there a while, they have the relationships, they have the technical knowledge, it's normal. At the same time, we need to remember that when we started at this company, they hired us for a reason. They hired us for a reason, right? You need to go back and remember what the reason is. The biggest threat to insecurity is putting in the work. In the beginning, you do not get a lot of work because people are like, no, he's very new right now, give him some time. So the best thing you can do is raise your hand, volunteer. New project, they don't know someone, there is a sales call, there is this thing with the client, go learn. That's the best way. It's the best way to beat insecurity. Insecurity doesn't like preparation. Insecurity likes lack of preparation and putting ourselves small, shrinking to fit. We don't want you to shrink to fit. You're amazing. That's why you were hired. You need to remember that. There were probably at least 100 people who applied to the same role. They probably did a short list of 6 or 7. They probably did a final round of interviews with 3 or 4. And at the end, you're the one. And this is not probably, you're the one who got hired. Nobody makes an offer to 2 people at the same time. You're the one who got hired. So you remember there's a reason for that. You're good at what you do. Focus on what you bring as opposed to what you don't have. Okay? I hope that helps you, Neeraj. Good luck. Some rewiring there, some thinking there. Hi, Simran. What's up? What is the most appropriate way to explain in an interview that I left my previous job due to being treated unfairly or facing difficult behavior from my reporting manager without sounding negative or unprofessional? As the employer, they don't take this as a valid reason. Yes, rightfully so, Simran, because no matter how genuine it is, what you're saying, the person on the other side of the table doesn't know you, right? So it's very early to win that trust, because when people badmouth someone, the immediate insecurity, and this is true for you as well. Let's say you make a brand new friend, okay? She's like somebody you just got to know, and she's already badmouthing a few people. What is our first reaction? I'm like, oh, she's doing this about someone, she might do this about me. There's no real filter there. We do want to have a filter, particularly at that time when we don't know each other and we don't have that trust capital. it's zero, right? So the best way to do it, according to me, is sugarcoat and deflect. You don't want to go too deep. So sugarcoat meaning use words like, use diplomatic words, and the devil is in the details. Do not go too deep. So stay superficial. Sugar, superficial, deflect. And deflect is my hearing. Deflect is focus on why you're here today. Why do you want this role? This is what politicians do really well. So when they don't want to answer a question, have you noticed they're very good at deflecting? Next time, watch a prime minister or a chief minister or a mayor, watch the press conference when they don't like something and they still have to answer it. They are very quick to change the talking points towards something they do know. And in this case, talk about why are you there? Why do you want this role? What's exciting about this role? Right? So you want to sugarcoat it with things like there was a lack of alignment on priorities. You want to use words like that. You don't want to go deep. Let me give you an example of a project which was such a shit show. You don't want to get into that. Why are you doing that? They are going to love it. Okay? They're going to be like imagining like they're bringing popcorn, and because everyone loves a mess. Everyone loves gossip. Even those who say, I never gossip, oh, please. They're the first ones to go get their popcorn and go, oh my God, this is so much fun. She is digging her own grave. We don't want to be we don't want to be a source of entertainment. Let that happen from Netflix. We want to be like, I want to get into that role and I'm going to kick ass because I'm really good at what I do. So don't let that get in your way. Okay, Simran, I do a lot more of this inside my program because I literally help with like exact scripts for my group coaching clients. Every single week we do live calls, and also the daily support is there so that you never feel like you're alone. If that is of any interest whatsoever, then as I mentioned in the beginning, consider scheduling game plan call with me. Go to superchargeyourself.com/game plan. Okay. All right. Listen, I think this was the last one. And if there's nothing else, then it's already half an hour on the dot. I hope this has been helpful. If it is, share it with your friends. Don't keep it a secret. Okay. Good things always need to be shared. And yes, happy to be here, coming to you live from New Delhi, my home. And I shall be here for the next 4 weeks. Until next Friday, take care of yourself. Thank you for joining me live. Always fun. Live is always fun, man. So much more fun than the replay. And I shall see you at the same time next Friday. Take care. Have a lovely rest of your Friday and weekend. And those watching in the US, very happy 4th of July. Have fun with the fireworks and the picnic and the barbecue. You're very welcome, Simran. All the best. Bye.